For the past 7 days or so, I have been turning on my laptop and just staring at my screen. Not writing, not doing anything, just staring. I had things I wanted to talk about. I had things I wanted to reduce to writing, things I wanted to just put down somewhere, but I couldn't start. I just couldn't find it in me to actually start typing. I had this idea I wanted to talk about, but I didn't know where to start because I kept thinking, what if it's not good enough? What if it doesn't come out the way I see it in my head? What if it's not right? What if it's not received well? And I know a lot of people have experienced this and are currently still experiencing this. If you've ever felt completely unsure or just frozen because your body wouldn't physically let you start something due to the fear of it not being perfect, you know what I'm talking about. Hi, my name is Dora. Welcome to Our Space to Think. This is a place where we talk about life, love, growth, relationships, and anything we need to talk about, to be honest. And if you enjoyed this video, I would like you to like, subscribe, and look forward to more videos every week. Wanting to constantly do things perfectly doesn't make you better at doing them. It just stops you from actually doing those things. Let me explain. When we want something to be perfect, our brain does this thing where it jumps straight to the end result. It doesn't think about the process. It doesn't think about learning or figuring it out as we go. It just thinks about the end result. It thinks, what would this look like when it's done? Would it be exceptional? Will it be perfect? And because we can't guarantee how perfect something would be at the early stage because we're human and we cannot see, always see the future, our brain just decides that it's too risky. And when it thinks it's too risky, it tells you it's time to stop. Don't do it. Wait. I read somewhere that the brain's main job is to keep us safe. Not happy, not successful, just safe. And to your brain, safe could mean do not do anything that could make people think badly of you. Maybe because in the old times, being rejected by your people, by your tribe meant you're going to die. So no tribe, no protection equals danger, if you understand what I mean. So even though we're not dodging the same kind of predators they were dodging at that time, our brain still treats being judged as a life or death situation. When you think about doing something and then you think about not doing it perfectly, your brain starts telling you that people are going to judge you for it. And then judgment equals rejection. Rejection equals danger. And then danger equals, you need to freeze. And that's why you can't move forward. It's not laziness, it's not procrastination. It's just your nervous system trying to protect you from a danger, from a threat that doesn't exist. And this paralysis, for lack of a better word, it feels responsible, it feels like it's telling you to be careful, telling you to just do things well. But that's not what's happening. You're not being careful. You're just afraid of doing it wrong. You are so afraid of making mistakes to the point where you're choosing to not do anything at all. So nothing feels safer than imperfect. But the thing is, nothing is also nothing. You don't grow, you don't improve, you don't move forward. You just stay stuck. And the longer you stay stuck, the more paralyzed you feel because now you're not just afraid of not doing things perfectly. You're also afraid and worried about all the time you've wasted. That's the trap of perfection. Wanting to do things perfectly doesn't make you do them well. It just makes you not want to do them at all. Let me show you what paralysis looks like in real life because you're probably experiencing it right now, but you're not sure or you just don't know. Let's say you want to launch a business or write a book or learn a new skill. You've been thinking about it for months or even years. You've done your research, you've watched tutorials, you've made plans, but you haven't started because you need the perfect equipment first or the perfect plan or the right amount of knowledge. So you tell yourself that you will start when you're ready. But that's a lie. You're just terrified that it will not be as good as you imagined it. And then people will laugh at you for not being perfect. People will laugh at you for not being excellent. So you keep preparing. Because preparing feels productive. You feel really good when you tell yourself like you're making plans, you're arranging these things, you are putting things in order. It feels like you're being productive. It feels like you're making progress, but you're not making progress. You're not. You are just afraid of being bad at something, and not starting anything at all stops you from confronting that fear. But the thing is, if you don't start, you also don't get to do anything. You don't make true progress. Maybe you need to set a boundary with someone, or you need to have a conversation that's been on your mind for weeks, or you need to ask for something that you really want. You know you need to have these conversations. You know all the things you want to say, but every single time you think about bringing up, you know, the topic with them, you think about all the ways that it could go wrong. Or what if I said the wrong thing? Or what if this is not the right time? Or what if they get upset? And so you stop yourself from saying anything. You tell yourself, oh, I just need to wait for the right time. Or I need to come up with the right word so that I can be able to pass my message properly. But you end up not doing anything. And then as time goes on, you just keep piling on different levels of um, resentment, and the weight of the things you need to speak about stays heavy in your heart because the problem hasn't disappeared. The conversation you need to have would have helped to, give you the relief you need, but you never had that conversation. So now you've wasted time and your problem is still there. Let me give you a work version. You need to send an email. It's not complicated, it's just an email. A couple of words to pass your message, to communicate what needs to be done and when it needs to be done. But you find yourself, rewriting that email 6 times, thinking, oh, what if it's too long? Or what if it's too short? Or what if it's not formal enough? What if it's unprofessional? What if it doesn't land the right way? So you think about it and think about it and think about it, and then later you say, oh, let me just save it in draft. I'll do it later. But later never comes. And so the thing you needed to communicate, you don't end up doing it. The information you needed to clarify, it doesn't happen. The project that needs to move to the next stage doesn't happen because you couldn't send one simple email. And then you spend the rest of your month or maybe week beating yourself up, asking yourself this question: why can't I just send a simple email? That is a trap of perfection. Do you see the pattern? In all the situations I've described, the paralysis convinces you that you're being responsible, that you're being careful, you're being thoughtful, but you're not. You're just frozen. You're wasting time. And the thing that is keeping you frozen is not the project itself. It's not the task itself. It's your need to be perfect. Because if the project is not perfect, then what does that say about you? That's what's wrong with you. That's the question your brain is asking you. And because you cannot answer that question in a way that feels safe, you end up not doing anything. So now that you've seen what is happening, you've seen how it appears in your daily life, how do you actually move? How do you actually make yourself do something when every part of you is saying, wait, don't do it, it's not perfect enough? Here's what has worked for me. Number 1, say the paralysis out loud. There's no need to keep pretending like, oh, you just want it to be perfect. Say what the actual fear is. Oh, I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid that it will not be perfect. Or I just don't want to look stupid. When you name it, it loses some of its grip. Because when you name it, you know you're not just dealing with some mysterious thing. You know you're dealing with fear. And you can walk with fear. Number 2, make the first task very, very, very small. In my experience, this paralysis gets worse when the first task is like really huge. So find a way to make it really small. So for the email situation, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to write the entire email today, start with, I'm going to write 1 sentence today. I'm going to just write a skeletal version today. I'm going to write 2 sentences today. For the business, instead of saying, I'm going to launch my business so and so, this, say, okay, fine. By next week, I'm going to write my proposal first. Break it down to tiny, tiny bits. Your brain cannot stay paralyzed over something so tiny. And if you're able to tackle that first tiny one, you move to the next tiny one. And once you break up that really huge thing into pieces and start to tackle them piece by piece by piece, progress gets easier. Before you know it, you are at the end. Number 3, give yourself permission to do it badly. I can't lie, I struggle with this one a lot. Hey, it is tough. I'm going to be very honest with you. It is tough. Giving yourself permission to do things badly telling yourself it's okay that you're not perfect. It is okay to do things that are not perfect. Telling yourself that it's not everyday black excellence, sometimes black mediocrity. It's hard. Very, very hard. But we're capable of doing hard things. You have to let go of perfection, especially because it's not forever, it's just for now. You have to start with the doing of that thing in the awkward way, the imperfect way, the not so polished way for now, especially because with time you will get better, you will get more polished. It's a process thing. So send that email with the awkward wording. If you continue sending emails like that with awkward wordings like that, in 6 months, you're going to be really, really good at drafting the best emails. Have that hard conversation. Even if you stutter, have it. After a while, you get really good at communicating your boundaries. You get really good at communicating, telling people what you want and what you need and how they should, show up for you. It takes practice because the truth is, done badly is better than perfect in your head. One is out there, the other one is in your imagination. Done perfectly is in your head. It doesn't exist. And so you can't learn from it, you can't improve. But done badly is out there. You can see every day, you can tweak, you can do better. You know what you need to do better. It's part of your story. It tells you where you started from and it helps you see your growth in real time. Number 4, set a timer and move before you're ready. I remember when I decided to start a YouTube channel, Before I decided to start this channel, I had thought about it for months. I kept thinking about it, like, how will I do this? How would I even communicate this? What do I intend to do? What value do I intend to bring? How do I want to share my message? Because I had a blog in the past where I had this kind of conversations, but I felt like it's time for me to actually speak in front of the camera and actually just share what I think, express these thoughts I had in my head, my opinions, because I felt like I had something I needed to share, but I couldn't just bring myself to do it because I kept thinking, oh, how would I prepare for this thing? I'm not ready to sit in front of the camera. I'm not sure I like it at all. I'm not sure I like to put myself out there. Like, why do I even need to do it? If you notice, if you go back to my old videos, you realize that I started this channel with just doing voiceovers and B-roll images. That was because I was even very shy of putting myself like in front of a camera. So I kept thinking, how would I prepare for this and all of that? And it just looked like a really huge task for me. So I told myself, you know what, Dora, it's time for you to set a timeline for yourself. Give yourself a time for when you're going to start this thing. Otherwise, you're not going to start. So I told myself, I'm going to launch this channel in December 2025. So I opened the YouTube account, but I did not launch the channel until December 2025. That was the timeline I gave myself. When I gave myself that timeline, that was when I eventually told my husband about it. So when I told him about it, he thought I had just thought of the idea at that time. No, I thought about it for months, close to a year. But I didn't know how to frame the conversation and even share with anyone. So it just sat in my brain every single day. It just keeps ruminating. Because I kept thinking, how does this even work? How do people do these things? I would watch videos of other people speaking so confidently in front of the camera. Like, how are they doing this thing? Am I sure I want to do this? Am I sure I can deal with all of this? Before I even had a conversation with him, I told myself I needed to have 7 months worth of content in order to start. If you know me, you would know that's not a big deal for me because I know how to get things done. Effort is my middle name. I know how to make plans and get things done regardless of how I feel or regardless of what's happening in my life at that time. But because I had given myself a timeline of December 2025, I know I could not create 7 months content within the time I gave myself. And I was not ready to push it back because I was tempted to push it further into 2026 before starting. So I told myself, I'm going to get out 2 months worth of content and then launch in December. And so that's when I had a conversation with my husband and said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to start. This is what I want to talk about. And he was like, okay, good. What do you have done? This is how you want to do it. Okay, good. I can do this for you. I can help you do that. But I had to start. I had to set the timeline. I had to talk about it. Force myself to put this idea out, force myself to bring this project to life by setting that timeline. If I kept saying, oh, let me just go and start, let me talk about it first, let's see what will happen. When I see where we are, I will not set a launch date. Nope. I know it will not happen at that time. I had to set that timeline. So it forces my brain, it gives my brain a sense of urgency. In my mind, I know I have a window because December 1st, 2025, that channel has to go live. That's what setting a timer does for you. It forces your brain to start rolling, forces your brain to stay on track, gives you something to work with. Paralysis lives in endless timing. So you need to stop it by giving it a time. Like stop the loop. Stop it by giving it a certain time. Otherwise, you keep doing, oh, I'll get to it later. I'm doing it slowly. I'm taking my time. And that's how you keep taking your time. And before you know it, you won't have achieved anything. Or the worst part is you stop the project and you never ever finish anything because you keep taking your time. You think you have endless time to get things done. Unfortunately, the world is not waiting for you to realize that your time is not endless. So stop the whole loop of, staying stuck in one place by actually giving yourself a timeline to do things. Tell yourself whether it's polished or not, this is when we're going to get this thing rolling. This is how much time we have to prepare. So we need to get things done, do as much as we can so we can go out there or we can put this thing out there at a certain time. If you don't give yourself that timeline, you're not going to move. Every single day, you're going to be annoyed at yourself that nothing is changing just because you have refused to take the important step of forcing your brain to fall in line. So please, even if you don't take anything, from today's video, take this particular one. No more thinking. No more I'm ready. I'll do when I'm ready. No more preparing. Do it. Force your brain to fall in line and get things done. Number 5, and the last one, celebrate the imperfect action. This one I just recently started. That thing that did not look great, but you still put it out anyway. That imperfect business plan, that imperfect conversation you had, that weird project you started in a messy way, well, you actually started. Celebrate it. Because, even if not for anything, you won. Your brain did not convince you to not do it. You were able to do stuff before your brain talked you out of it. The action is worth celebrating. Forget about the result. The action of actually doing the thing, starting and completing the thing, going out there and putting yourself out there and doing something that you were really scared of doing, but then you still did anyway. Celebrate that action because you are also teaching your brain that imperfect means brave. Imperfect doesn't mean judgment or rejection. Imperfect means brave. Well, people judge you, that's their business. Will you get rejected? Maybe, maybe not. It's not the result that we're talking about right now. It's the action. What helps you get your result eventually? Celebrate that action. And I'm realizing that the more I do things imperfectly and actually survive the war in my brain, the more I get more comfortable with doing things anyway. The more I get comfortable with not being perfect. Doing things imperfectly is a skill. It's a muscle that needs training. I'm still training mine. You can start training yours too. I know it's rewarding because it has rewarded me so far. So I know it will be rewarding for you. Perfectionism is not protecting you. It's stealing from you. The number of times you stay paralyzed with fear of not doing things perfectly are the times that you could have been learning, growing, improving, failing and getting up again and moving forward and progressing. Trying to be perfect is stealing all of those important moments from you. I know it feels safer to wait till you're ready, but I don't think we're ever going to be really, really ready. We're just going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting till we lose momentum. And if we're being honest, you need to have a sense of urgency if you're going to make it in life. That's one bitter truth people are refusing to acknowledge. Urgency rewards the brave, yes. That's it. Urgency rewards the brave. Being able to move. is rewarding, more rewarding than staying still. You may never ever get to the point where you look at all the things you've done and say, oh yes, this is flawless. And that's okay, because the goal is not perfection. The goal is to stop letting the need to be perfect run your entire life. So go and do that thing. Do it badly. Do it imperfectly. Do it afraid. But just do it. Learn to do things afraid, because done is better than perfect. See you next time.